All right. What's up, YouTube? What's up? It's your boy, Mr. James Carrington, back at it again with a brand new video. And this is a video that I saw circulating on WhatsApp. It's about an incident that happened in Ghana a couple days ago, maybe about 2 days ago. So the video went viral. It was circulating on WhatsApp, and I wanted to share it with you, my non-Ghanaian viewers and listeners. Okay, and I wanted to share it because I wanted to use the video to emphasize the reality on the ground in Ghana right now. Okay, the financial hardships that Ghanaians are going through right now on a daily basis, and because of that have to resort to certain criminal behavior or behaviors just to make ends meet. Okay, now, we all know that some crime is pardonable, some crime is forgivable. Like, for instance, if a man is there and he loses his job and he can't take care of his kids, okay, and because of that he has no food at home and he has to go to the store, steal so he can come feed his kids, that is a crime that's understandable and forgivable. We understand why he did that, right? But there are some crimes that are just unpardonable. There are some crimes that, as mere mortals and as mere human beings, we cannot forgive. Okay? Only God can forgive you if you indulge in such behavior. And this is one good example of that. This video is a very good example of that. Okay, so I'm going to play the video, and they're not speaking in English, they're speaking in Akan. So for my non-Ghanaian audience, don't worry about it. I'll translate what's being said and I'll put the video in proper context for you. So without much further ado, let's get into it.
Movie I miss you too. Hey, can I say? Movie I miss you too. Can I say boko? Mama kwaba. Me ana me frɛ mo. Me ye herbalist. Am ye bibidro yi bi ha. Papa we Efra Bucha Bagana. And no se no man ku yi ma no. Ba wo ma 12. Nti ni ma 12 no wo no. Opese me kumu tu na me de eskedro ma no. Me ye military man. I'm a disciplined man. Me ntia anya bone. And I want to prove to the whole world, any more much of a man tell say, traditional herbalist, and any paboni for, and you do for young Kuminipa, send you more Nigeria film, Ghana film. This one is a bad man. You need to know Krumani. Akolano, the best you can find in your schedule, Akolano.
All right, so let me explain what's transpired so far. So, the guy that's narrating, okay, he's a herbalist, okay? And as the name implies, herbalists cure ailments with the use of herbs, okay? As opposed to Western medicine, right? So you have those everywhere, okay? The use of herbs in curing ailments and as a remedy has been around since the beginning of time. So we have a lot of those in Ghana. Okay, if you think about it, we were using herbalists before Europeans came to the continent. You understand? So that that profession is still there. There are still people who can cure certain ailments and remedies through herbs. Now, there is another group of people or individuals who are also a vestige of something that's old, and that is old African systems of worship, right? Because again, before Europeans came to the continent, Africans as a people had their own forms of spirituality, right? Before Christianity was introduced to Africans, Africans had their own forms of worship, okay? There are a lot of African societies where they worship deities, right? multi deities, and depending on which country you go to, the deity is different. Even within one country, there are multiple deities for the different ethnic groups. Okay, so the second group, basically, aside from the herbalists, right? So I defined what the herbalists are. Okay, the herbalists are one group. This gentleman that's speaking identifies himself as a herbalist. And then there are occultists. Okay, occultists, again, as the name implies, are those who indulge in the occult. Okay, they claim they're able to speak to the gods, they're able to summon the gods on your behalf. And if you have a request that you want to place before a god, you come see them. Okay, so there are people there that do that too. Okay, there are occultists in Ghana that practice occultism. And occultism, again, like I said, that is a vestige. Okay, it is a vestige of old African systems of worship. Okay, before whites came, Africans used to, a lot of African cultures, before the introduction of Christianity, a lot of African cultures used to worship gods. They still do. There are some people who still do. There are some people who still practice African forms of spirituality and worship and don't ascribe to Christianity. Okay. And that's where the occultists come from. Now, for people who are still believers in stuff like that, when they have problems, be it a financial problem, be it a health problem, be it that they have a grievance against their neighbor, be it that they have some sort of litigation, dispute over land, or anything, okay? If they feel, just like if you're a Christian and you have a problem and you think that this is a problem that you can solve by your own strength, you get on your knees and you pray to the one living God that you believe in, right? Those who practice African forms of spirituality or believe in it, they also go to an occultist or a juju man or a voodoo man or a witch doctor. All these are the different terms that Westerners have labeled these guys, right? The Africans who believe in that sort of thing go there, okay? So you go to church, they go to the occultist, or they go to the voodoo man or the juju guy, right? And they go and place their requests to the gods, okay, in front of the voodoo man. And the voodoo man will act as an intermediary between them and the gods, okay? Now, as to whether that works is up for interpretation, okay? As to whether, if you have a problem and you go seek out help from an occultist, as to whether you'll actually get the results you need, well, again, that's up to interpretation. But it is strong enough, or the belief system is strong enough that there are still people who still practice it. I mean, even if you come to America, you go to places like New Orleans, there are, people here in America, in a Western nation, a so-called Judeo-Christian nation, there are still people here who practice voodoo, right? So, again, perception is reality. And I believe that, if you really think in your mind, again, this is tapping into the power of the subconscious. If you really in your mind believe that if you go place your request in front of some idol of sorts, that you will be granted what you're asking for, and you truly believe that, then yes, it'll happen for you. You understand? So I just wanted to give a little bit of a background as to, what this whole setup is. what you're seeing there is. So the guy who is speaking again is a herbalist, not an occultist. He's a herbalist, not an occultist, right? And so you have the herbalist on one side. They only basically, you break a leg, you have some kind of fever, whatever. You go see them. They'll grind together some herbs and whatnot, give it to you. You take it. A week or so later, you're feeling better. And then there are the occultists who, if you have a problem that transcends this physical world, you have a problem that requires divine intervention, they're the ones you go to because they claim they can tap into the spiritual world and place your request into the hands of the gods. Okay, so the gentleman that you saw that was sitting on the stool, supposedly, he doesn't live in Ghana. He lives overseas. They don't say where. It could be the US, it could be Canada, it could be Europe, Australia. We don't know. But the point is, he is in Ghana right now for a visit. He went home and he went to go see the guy that was narrating, the herbalist. And he told the herbalist that he is in financial straits. He is in dire financial straits. And therefore, he would like for the herbalist to place a request, okay, with the gods to lift him out of poverty, to lift him out of whatever financial bind that he finds himself. And just like with any deity, any god, anything that has to do with placing a request, asking for something from the gods, just like in the olden times, okay? And this transcends cultures, okay? You look at the Greeks, you look at their history, they used to worship gods, right? They used to worship like gods like Apollo, Zeus, Athena, all these people, Poseidon, right? Or you look at the ancient Egyptians, they used to worship the sun, they used to worship the river, okay, the Nile, Ra, and all that stuff. It doesn't matter as long as human beings have worshipped something, a deity of sorts. The rule of thumb has always been that if you come before the deity to place a request, you have to bring a sacrifice, right? Okay. It's the same with African traditional systems of voodoo, okay? So this guy, he goes to the herbalist. He should have gone to an occultist, but instead he went to a herbalist. And I believe the reason he did that is because there are some people who brand themselves as both, okay? They're like a hybrid, okay? So you come see him, he'll ask you the nature of your problem. If it's one that needs for him to tap into the spiritual realm, then he will use his occultist side to help you in that manner. But if it's something that just, you have like a fever or something and he just needs to cook some herbs together, he doesn't need to call the gods for that, right? Okay, so this guy goes to a herbalist. Well, apparently this herbalist guy doesn't practice occultism, okay? But the guy came to him with a request that, listen, I need you to speak to the gods on my behalf, and I need you to, get a solution, a remedy for my financial situation. And to that effect, I am willing to sacrifice 2 of my children because I know that this requires a sacrifice, okay? I can't pay the gods money. The gods don't need money. They need life. Okay? So I am willing to sacrifice 2 of my children. And so on that particular day, he came to the herbalist with one of his children. Now, sacrificing a human being is illegal, because it's basically murder, right? And especially in a country like Ghana, even though we still practice traditional systems of African worship and there are people who still dabble in occultism and stuff like that, but it is still a crime per the judicial system to kill someone for whatever reason, whether it's to a god or to whatever you believe in, or murdering someone is a crime that is punishable by death, or you spend your life in jail. Okay, so the guy goes to the father, the one that's sitting on the stool, goes to see this herbalist guy, and it turns out that the herbalist guy is former military, and he believes in the rule of law, and he realizes that what this young man, well, middle-aged man, is asking of him is criminal in nature, and he wants no part of it. So basically, he did a citizen's arrest. He trained his gun on him. I'm sure you guys saw it earlier. It was like a shotgun. And he told him to sit still, and he reached out to the police. And so you see the police officer and his assistant or assistants come in, and you see them putting the man in cuffs. Okay? So I hope so far you're following me. I had to give you the history and the background into the whole herbalist versus occultist thing, so you could really understand and, in your mind, put together or put in proper context what was unfolding before you. Okay, so let's continue.
Oh, how are you? Okay, my name is Nane Dubuafu Jr. Okay, what's the name of your father? Ivan Sopon. Okay, your father brought you here so that I'll kill you, so that he'll get money. So he brought. Oh, don't be scared, my daughter. Don't be scared. So I brought the police in to come and save you. So the police will take care of you. Okay? The man is a policeman. They'll take care of you. Okay? Okay.
I thought that part there was a little hilarious. He was like, "Your father brought you here so I can kill you." It's funny, but it's sad at the same time, And look at how the child just took all that information in. She's still very stoic, or she was very stoic about the whole thing. It's kind of like, oh, word, my dad brought me here to murk me. I knew I never should have trusted that mofo. I never trusted that mofo. As a matter of fact, I don't even think he's my real dad. And that's another thing, right? This guy is willing to sacrifice his own flesh and blood, which makes you think. He says in the video, they claim that he said he has 12 kids. Okay. So, I'm thinking, if he has 12 kids, maybe he doesn't think this one is his. You understand? I mean, it happens, right? Maybe he doesn't think this one is his. So he's like, you know what? If I'm going to give someone off to the gods, I'm going to give the one that I least suspect is mine. Oh, man. Anyway, let's continue. Oh, and also you see this setup here. So basically, this is the guy's setup. Okay, and when you go to Ghana or Nigeria or any Western African nation where they practice, African forms of worship, traditional forms of worship, you'll see something like this. This is sort of a shrine. Okay, it's a shrine of sorts. Okay, and he has all his whatever amulets or talismans or whatever you want to, they're all there. And so if you come to see him, you'll see a setup like this. The setups, there's so many different setups. Okay, the herbalists, usually their setup is very minimal compared to the occultists. The occultists, you go to an occultist abode, and you'll see all sorts of things. Okay, sometimes things that defy logic. Like you might go into an occultist's house and you might see a pot suspended in the air. I kid you not. Okay, and so and that is what basically strengthens people's belief in these sort of things. All right, so let's continue.
Akola no school e na ko chine free school aba semi kunu fani yeske droma no Raise your head.
And you guys saw the daughter, right? She can't be more than 12 years old, and this guy was willing to sacrifice her. This guy brought this girl here today so she could be killed. Amazing. It's amazing. But again, it points to it points to the hopelessness of the situation that some people find themselves down there now. To the extent that you're willing to sacrifice your own flesh and blood because you can't make ends meet, it points to the hardship that a lot of Ghanaians are going through right now. And when I say Ghanaians, I'm just using the general term because this cuts across basically all of Africa and even globally. Because unless your head has been buried in the sand for the past 3 years, you know that the world is in a financial crunch right now. Everybody is struggling. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, the middle class is getting squeezed. Everybody is struggling to make ends meet. Okay? But at least for those of us who live in Western nations, who live in nations that have, what you might call, quote unquote, robust economic systems in place, at least we're able to withstand some of this. You understand? If you live in a society where there are safety nets, economic safety nets, health safety nets, whatever, at least you're able to weather the storm a little bit. But not if you live in a place like Ghana. And before I forget, please, if you haven't subscribed to the show, hit the subscribe button right now. Hit the like button if you like what you're watching. And also don't forget to follow us on YouTube and Facebook. And also subscribe to the audio podcast. That is the one in red at the very top of the banner. Okay, the link in red. And also, if you have comments about the video, or if you have comments about anything, or you want me to talk about anything, just shoot me a quick text on WhatsApp. And the number to do that is +1 484 547 7572 +1 484 547 7572. All right, let's go back to the video.
Munyi ne bag no the bag of the Jesus can munyi bag ne police one. Raise your head.
Now you see how they've started administering doses of slaps to his face. This is just the beginning for him. He's about to go through the grinder. Okay? So I believe what they will do after this is he's been arrested. He's going to be taken to the police headquarters. He's going to be processed. And they'll set a trial date for him. And I don't know what the penalties are in Ghana as far as this sort of thing, because the act didn't actually occur, right? But here is someone who wanted someone killed, his own child, presumably. So I don't know what the laws on the books are for something like this, premeditated. I don't even know what plot to kill or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how they define this in the law books in Ghana. But it'll be interesting to follow this case, and I'll keep you guys updated as to what happens to this gentleman here. But again, this is what people are doing now, crime is on the rise. Crime is on the rise, unfortunately, but that's because people are starving. People are hungry. People need an out. You have high unemployment rates. All these young people graduating from the universities, they can't get jobs. And they need something. They need something. But with nothing coming to them, they resort to criminality. Okay, now this gentleman here, he doesn't even live in Ghana. He lives overseas. Now let's just assume for a minute that he lives in America. He lives in America, but he can't even afford to bring his kids and his family to America to live with him because he has 12 of them. First of all, I don't even know why he has 12 kids. That's dumb to begin with. It's 2022. Nobody has 12 kids. You understand? I mean, come on. Now you have 12 kids. You can't take care of them. And unlike in the West, the state is not down there in Ghana. The state is not going to take care of your children. You have to take care of your children. There are no food stamps. There are no social benefits, social safety nets that you can rely on. You don't get any coupons in the mail that you can take to the market to buy food at a discount. So why do you have 12 kids? You understand? Anyway, so that'll be it for today, people. That'll be it for today. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the show, please do that. We're trying to reach at least 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, right? I know it's a hard sell, but I need your help in order for me to attain that. And let's grow the channel. Okay, subscribe on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and until I talk to you guys again, it's your boy, Mr. James Carrington. And as I always tell you guys, be nice to your fellow man. Don't do what you wouldn't want to be done to you. And be safe out there. All right.